Okay, so what I want to talk about next is how do you evaluate true statements for yourself, right? So your goal is to find true statements. That's basically what learning is. And I started by saying that, okay, so one of the best places to start is to look at testimony because you are able to leverage the past, the work of others, like the child leveraging the ideas of the parents, leveraging all the time that they put into trying to find true statements for themselves, and trying to stand on that so that you don't start from scratch. But like I had said earlier, testimony is not how you evaluate true statements, right? Testimony offers information that could be true, could be false. It's just a starting place. But sometimes, for example, testimony might end up being false, right? So for example, it's possible that sometimes parents can say something to their child that turns out to be false without them maybe realizing it. So let's say, for example, one of your parents tells you that Spiffy, the dog next door to you, your parents tell you that Spiffy has pink hair. And let's say that that's actually false. Spiffy actually has red hair. Spiffy doesn't actually have pink hair. Spiffy has red hair. How would you evaluate that statement that your parents told you, that testimonial statement, information coming from someone else's mouth? How would you evaluate whether or not that's true or false? Well, the obvious and the first way that people usually try to evaluate a true statement, especially when it comes to, stuff like the color of someone's hair, is they will go out and test or see for themselves. So you go out and see for yourself whether or not it's true or false. So you're using, basically, your eyes, your ears, your nose, or your taste, right? You're using your 5 senses, your touch as well. You're using your 5 senses to figure out whether or not the world around you is the way that that statement says it is. I.e., in other words, whether or not the statement is in fact true. And our 5 senses, in most cases, guide us in being able to figure out what's true or false because they give us a pretty clear idea of what the world out there is like. In most cases, testing and seeing for yourself, after you've looked at testimonial cases, seeing for yourself is often one of the fastest ways to figure out whether or not a statement is true. So, for example, you might then go over to your neighbor's house. You call out Spiffy, and Spiffy comes out, and you're like, "Hey, wait! Spiffy actually has red hair, not pink hair." So it turns out that Spiffy actually has red hair, and you change this statement. You realize that your parents told you something false. They didn't realize that was actually a false statement, and you just changed your idea of it from pink to red. So that's one of the fastest and most straightforward ways that we evaluate a true statement. We test or see for ourselves whether or not the statement is in fact the case, whether or not it's in fact true.